This is the time of year when my friends who are lucky enough to have persimmon trees offer me persimmons. I love using this seasonal fruit to make persimmon bread, muffins, and cookies. So why not a persimmon bundt cake? This recipe is another of my bundt cake recipes made without eggs, milk, or butter. To make this persimmon cake, you will need 3 cups of white flour, 3/4 of a cup of white sugar, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/2 teaspoon of cloves and 1/2 teaspoon of ginger. You'll need 3/4 of a cup of chopped walnuts, 1.5 cups of persimmon puree, 3/4 of a cup of vegetable oil, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 1 cup of water, and 2 tablespoons of distilled white vinegar. You start by preheating your oven to 350 degrees and using oil and flour, prepare your bundt pan. Into your large mixing bowl that has your 3 cups of flour, add your dry ingredients: 3/4 of a cup of white sugar, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and your cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and ginger. Now, using a wooden spoon, I'm just going to mix this all together. Once your dry ingredients are well mixed, in another bowl, add all your wet ingredients: your persimmon puree, your vanilla, your oil, and your water. And using a wooden spoon, mix well until it's well combined. Your next addition will be your nuts. And again, mix well. So we've added everything at this point except for the vinegar, which is our very last ingredient. So I'm going to put our vinegar aside, and now I'm going to pour our wet ingredients into our dry ingredients. And now, using that wooden spoon again, you want to just blend all of the dry and the wet ingredients together to form your cake batter. And once it's thoroughly combined, that's when we're going to add the vinegar. And in this recipe, the distilled white vinegar acts as your leavening agent when it chemically combines with the baking soda. So you do not want to add this too soon. But once you add it, it needs to go directly into the bundt pan and into the oven. So I feel like I'm well combined. And now I'm going to add our 2 tablespoons of white vinegar and mix well. You'll start to see a chemical reaction. You'll start to see the batter start to bubble, turn a little white. That's telling me that it's working just the way it's supposed to. Once your batter is completely mixed together, pour it into your prepared bundt pan. And now this will go into our preheated 350-degree oven for about an hour. Our cake is out of the oven and is cooled, and I'm giving it just a light dusting of powdered sugar. And this is a perfect finish for this cake, but you can also add a glaze, which I'm going to do. Making a glaze is so easy. I'm going to do a cream cheese glaze. So I started with a little bit of whipped cream cheese, to which I'm going to add powdered sugar, a few drops of milk. Making a glaze is about the easiest thing in the world, but it does take a little bit of time, and you want to get the consistency right. And then just start mixing it together until you're happy with the consistency. I'm happy with the consistency of my glaze now. This one is a little bit thick because it has a cream cheese in it. You can just as easily do a lemon glaze, a maple glaze, or even a vanilla glaze. And now it's just simply a matter of drizzling your glaze over the top of your cake. And I like to finish off this beautiful persimmon cake with some chopped walnuts. This delicious cake is always a seasonal treat and the best way I know to use persimmons. This cake freezes well and makes a lovely dessert for Thanksgiving.